The phone call. When the phone rang at the Martins' home in Royal Oak, Michigan, there was, of course, no cause for alarm. Nor would there be cause for alarm for any family when the phone would ring. But tonight, a simple phone call would nearly drive a young girl mad with fear. It's a story that shows how a little confusion and imagination can get way out of control. 13-year-old Tina Martin was alone in her house. Her mother and father were running errands, and her older brother was at soccer practice. Tina was watching television when the phone rang. She got up and answered it, but there was no one there. After a few moments, she hung up the phone and returned to watch television. As soon as she sat down, however, and again she got up and answered it. This time, someone did speak.
I'll be there soon,
the voice said in a hoarse whisper. Horrified, Tina slammed the phone to its cradle. Who will be here? She wondered nervously. Just to be safe, she ran around the house, checking all the doors and windows to make sure they were locked. She felt better after doing this, knowing that her mother and father would be returning soon. But before she could sit down again, the ringing of the telephone sent a cold chill through her body. She didn't want to answer it, but then again it might be her mother or father calling, or one of her friends perhaps. She picked up the phone, and before she had a chance to say anything, the voice spoke again.
I'll be there soon.
Completely horrified, Tina slammed down the phone. Then she picked it up again and dialed her mother's cell phone. It rang and rang, but her mother never picked up. Then she called her friend, Mary, and she was relieved when Mary picked up the phone. She told her about the strange phone call, but Mary calmed her, telling her that it was probably a wrong number or perhaps someone playing a joke. This, however, was little comfort to Tina, and as soon as she hung up the phone, she stared at the phone for a long time. Finally, she picked it up and was terrified to hear the strange voice again.
I'm almost there,
the voice said. This was far too much for Tina. She slammed the phone to its cradle and ran to her bedroom, closing the door behind and locking it. Her heart was pounding and she was breathing heavily. She told herself to calm down, that she would be fine. She sat down on her bed. A few minutes went by and she prayed that she wouldn't hear the phone ring. Every second that ticked past made her feel better. Her mother and father would be home any minute now, and her brother as well. She stood up and paced the floor, still not wanting to leave the safety of her bedroom, when all of a sudden, the sound of the doorbell made her stop in her tracks. She froze. Panicking, she threw open her closet door, stepped inside, and closed it behind her. She fell to the floor among shoes and clothing. Then, it was the last sound she remembered. Tina fainted from fright. She awoke to the sounds of her mother and father calling her name. She was disoriented for a moment, wondering why she was in the dark closet. Then it all came back to her. The horrifying phone call, the voice, then the doorbell and the knock on the door. But she was safe now. She could hear her mother and father at her bedroom door, and she jumped up, threw the closet door open, and darted across her bedroom, where she immediately unlocked the door. She explained everything, knowing that her parents, too, would be terrified by her story. It was then, and only then, that she found out the truth about the mysterious caller. While her parents were on errands, they realized they were running late. They were hungry, and they knew Tina and Mike would be as well. So Tina's mother had called a local pizza delivery service. They arrived home to find the pizza delivery man standing at their door, huffing and puffing and out of breath. He explained to them that his delivery car had broken down and he had borrowed a bicycle to deliver the pizza, and he was out of breath from the trip. He had called their home several times from his cellular phone to let them know he was on his way. The explanation was a great relief to Tina, who was a little embarrassed by her behavior, but she'll never forget the horror she felt when she picked up the phone and heard that awful voice.